This upcoming week will be very telling. Why? Because this upcoming week, I do believe, is where the move will begin. Okay? And then we'll see where this move takes us. Mark your calendars. This Monday, May 19th, XRP futures will officially debut on CME, one of the biggest derivatives market globally. Okay, so again, we warned about the state since the past week or so. This day will be very important, guys, because you know what happens, right? It's either going to be very bullish or very negative. But we're going to be talking about the price action side of things, and perhaps some tariff talk as well from Walmart, which is quite interesting, from Ash Crypto. Now, a whale just opened $276 million 40x long position on Bitcoin. So this is just ridiculous at this point. And the liquidation price is $95,000, whale or insider. Okay, so here we go, guys. Somebody, an unknown entity, opened a 40x long. Wait a minute, what is this? Do I see XRP there? Wait a minute, I did not realize it until right now. Wait a minute. Not only did he open a Bitcoin 40x long, KPepe 10x long, but an XRP long of 20x, $34 million. Entry was $2.51. His liquidation prices, I believe, I don't know. It doesn't show, but that's crazy, huh? Someone not only opened a Bitcoin 40x long, which obviously you have to be so crazy bullish on Bitcoin to open a long of $300 million, by the way. Okay. But the man opened a $34 million long position on XRP. Wow. That's crazy, guys. So, is this upcoming week going to be bullish? Is the real question. Let me give you my thoughts. I don't know if he's an insider or not, but may the best insider win. Let's see. Here are my thoughts, guys, okay? Here's my opinion on this matter of up, down, sideways, backwards, I don't even know, front flips. Here's a game plan, okay, I got going on with XRP and what's going on, because this whole thing is kind of boring, right? Very boring price action. But for the past week or so, I've been warning you guys that I believe on the XRP versus Bitcoin pairing, we're going to take these lows. Okay? That's my belief, and it has been coming true so far. Why? Because we're getting close to this region, awfully close to this lower side of the range, which we've been warning, right? Okay, so here's my game plan. And I still think that will happen, guys. Okay, I still think this will happen. XRP versus Bitcoin will go down, right? But it will be above this level, right? So if it comes down here and then it bounces all the way to the top side of the range, that's a bad sign as well. Even though XRP will pump to probably its previous all-time high, right? And it's probably going to mark or make a new all-time high. So what I think will happen is this: a dump like this, right? Then a pump, and then from then on, what's going to happen? Well, this is what I think, guys. So the reason I don't want to talk about XRP versus Bitcoin or the XRP versus USD chart, guys, it's because it's kind of unclear what will happen due to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is holding up very beautiful right now, right? That's why XRP hasn't died, because of Bitcoin, right? Since XRP is lagging behind Bitcoin so heavily, if Bitcoin were to dump right now, right, it seems like somebody's controlling Bitcoin's price to hold up at this level. So XRP USD doesn't die, right? So XRP versus Bitcoin can still come lower, and the USD can still bleed out a bit, but nothing too crazy if Bitcoin holds steady or even pumps, right? But again, my thoughts here are XRP versus Bitcoin is still going to dump, right? We're not going to go below this level, but even if we do come down here, what's the issue? You guys know what's the issue, guys? The issue is if it pumps from this region, there's going to be liquidity down here and liquidity here, right? Previously, when there's liquidity, 1, 2, 3, it took it by one wick. Do you see? And where else is there liquidity? Here, 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 and here. There's way more upside liquidity, okay, than down, right? There's way more upside. Look at that. That's like 7, 8 versus 3, right? So at some point, yes, XRP is going to explode, guys. Okay, XRP will explode, but at this point, we're going to have to figure out what happens next, either all the way down, right, or go up. But we'll see. We'll see what happens from then on. And I do believe the move will be this upcoming week. It will be very telling to see what happens next, right? So because of this going live, insiders already longing before the move occurs, possibly, right? So yeah, it's gonna get very beautiful here. Now, XRP versus Ethereum on the daily starting to look insane. So this is XRP versus Ethereum's chart. There's already a bullish divergence on the daily forming. Let's go to the ETH versus Bitcoin chart. You know what I want to see here? I actually want to see one more dump. I actually want to see one more dump occur, right? Then we go all the way back up. That would be my perfect scenario. That doesn't mean XRP versus USD will dump. That does not mean that, right? It just means Ethereum is just more stronger than XRP and has been for the past months. Okay, I just want to see one more dump here to mark the low, and then XRP will finally gain strength over Ethereum, Bitcoin, right, and your S coins, and make it fly to new all-time highs, or near it, right, previous all-time highs. So that's just my plan. Those are my thoughts. Obviously, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking at this point in time. Now, what matters to me is Bitcoin to be fair, because Bitcoin is at a decision point. Okay, it's at a point where it's about to either fly or die. Why? Because when it consolidates, when it goes sideways like this, right? When the price moves sideways like this, look what happened. Pump after pump. Is history going to repeat and have another pump? Or did it just break through this moving average, right? The SMA. And it did, right? Which means the trend is looking a little bit shaky, but it's decision time, guys. If Bitcoin does dump, XRP is going to get hit hard. Okay, XRP is going to get hit hard. If Bitcoin pumps, okay, if Bitcoin pumps, XRP will be saved on the USD pairing, not the Bitcoin pairing. Because on the Bitcoin pairing, it's still going to go down, in my humble opinion, right? And XRP will be lagging behind Bitcoin if Bitcoin does pump. But if Bitcoin dumps, the USD pairing will get hit hard for this upcoming week. Those are my thoughts right now. So here comes Raoul Pal, and he discusses the XRP charts on RecVision yesterday. That XRP chart is something to behold.
I tell you, there's another chart, Arthur, you could bring up this one. Yeah, I know you guys mentioned it last week, is that XRP chart is something to behold.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, none of us have really been involved in XRP, but that chart is something to behold. It's like, that's going to another big leg higher at some point.
At some point, it's gonna create another big leg higher, right? It's gonna create another high. Most definitely, guys. The issue I have is what path it will take. Obviously, everyone knows it's gonna go up. Everyone and their dogs knows XRP versus USD is going to go up, guys. Right? The question I have here is it gonna stay still, right? Dump, and then pump, and from then on, do we take the new highs, or dump from there, create the actual low due to a black swan event happening at this point, and then pump from there? Either or, the trajectory is up, right? That's my thinking. I don't know.
And that obviously helps the Bitcoin dominance chart. The other one, which I think is the best chart in the world, is I don't know if
But look, maybe Trump is like very bullish here. Trump just posted this: rate cuts coming soon. The consensus of almost everybody is that the Fed should cut rates sooner rather than later. He's saying, Trump said, that's what everyone believes. I don't. Do I believe that the Fed should cut right now? No, guys. I believe that there needs to be a black swan event to take it all down. Then the excuse is quite clear. Print, because everything is down. Inflation, you're basically killing like 10 birds with one stone. But Trump is saying that, hey, too late Powell. He doesn't call him Jerome Powell. He calls him too late Powell because that's what he's known for, supposedly, right? Why? Because he waits for They probably insert a black swan event, literally, right? Purposefully create one to bring everything down, and then he's called Too Late Powell. A man legendary for being too late will probably blow it again, but who knows? Will probably blow it again. Is that a hint? This statement right here, by the way, matches perfectly with what I just talked about. This path will literally, if I was a market maker, this is the path I would take. This all the way down to Rex City. Then we bottom out and then we go up. Right? Because of this range that's formed. We'll see though. We'll see what happens. Trump is like, hurry up, Jerome Powell, before a black swan truly does enter. Right? Trump does not want the economy to die. Jerome Powell, on the other hand, wants it to die. Right? Because the excuse will be easy to print 30 trillion. But the Fed is probably already beginning QE. Fed caught quietly bailing out bond market with $43 billion injection. No buyers, no problem. The Fed just snapped up billions in treasuries, $9 billion in 30-year bonds in a single day, and $43 billion in total last week. The big print has just begun. So quiet, right? Don't let anybody notice that they're buying, it seems as. This what just happened today, guys, or just recently. President Trump slams Walmart for raising prices due to tariffs, right? Again, the economy is shaky, guys, in my opinion. Obviously it's been shaky. The collapse will happen at some point, right? This is what Trump says about what just happened today. Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers. Wow. So people are furious at Walmart, right? I would be too, and I am. Because whose fault is this? Right? I'm telling you, one event can literally cure it all and delay the inevitable, which is the collapse. We need a black swan event. I'm telling everyone, because inflation is still an issue. So here's more on the matter of Walmart and tariffs and stuff like that.
So the Walmart CEO, which is indicative of what we're paying for groceries and goods in America, said this about what he's worried about. Listen.
We will do our best to keep our prices as low as possible. But given the magnitude of the tariffs, even at the reduced levels announced this week, we aren't able to absorb all the pressure given the reality of narrow retail margins.
So they're putting it on us. Told you guys, right? By the way, they're already rich. So that's crazy. That's diabolical. Right? So this is just accelerating. Not a good look. And here comes Powell on this issue with tariffs.
If the large increases in tariffs that have been announced are sustained, they're likely to generate a rise in inflation, a slowdown in economic growth, and an increase in unemployment. The effects on inflation could be short-lived, reflecting a one-time shift in the price level. It is also possible that the inflationary effects could instead be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the tariff effects, on how long it takes for them to pass through fully into prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored.
Like we said, I don't think he's gonna be like crazy to print and all that stuff, guys, because you guys can see what's happening with the economy and this tariff situation, guys. So that's what I'm saying. I think they're still waiting for an event, right, which will then clear it all out. Which is why another CEO of Customers and Community Banking, JP Morgan Insider Trading Alert, just sold $3.3 million of JPM shares, and JP Morgan insiders have sold a total of $30 million over the last 2 weeks. Look at that, right? So what's going to happen in the short term? A pump is coming for XRP, most likely, to new all-time highs. From then on is where things get shaky. Will we die or will we keep flying? But we'll get to that point at some point. Now, financial advice for now. Things are going according to plan, most definitely. Not financial advice. But anyways, that's what face amazing is. See ya. Not financial advice.